Welcome to the Revere Veterans and Community Show. Today we have two special guests, Nick Brewer from the Revere Veterans Service, the Administrator, and Joe Hickey from the Everett Veterans Service. And I welcome you, Mr. Hickey, and you, Mr. Brewer. We're going to be talking about the Vietnam Wall today. The wall actually originated in Washington, D.C. in 1982, and it was designed by Mayor Lin, who won the design contest. Also, Jan Scruggs, who was a Vietnam veteran, got the idea for the Vietnam Wall in 1979, and the first time the wall was moved, the traveling wall, was in Tyler, Texas in the year 1984. But this year it's coming to the city of Revere on June 13, 14, 15, and 16. And Mr. Brewer, tell the people how the wall got started to come here and the people that help you.
Well, we started with Greg Marciello, who was the quartermaster at the VFW in Beachmont, and he submitted an application, and the program was awarded to Revere. So we had some scheduling, and we've had numerous meetings in order to bring the wall here, and as far as setting it up, our friends over at the Point of Pines Yacht Club, they were gracious enough to volunteer a number of people to help set up and break down the wall upon its completion. So we're going to have an opening ceremony, we'll have a closing ceremony, and we need as many people to volunteer as possible. We need donations, so in order to pay for the expenses, the wall costs us, just to have the wall here is $5,000, and just to bring the wall, and also we have to put up the folks up at the hotel, the local hotel, in order to make it a lot more convenient for them. But we have a number of people who have volunteered, and we're going to be working on the committees, the various committees, between now and June. It'll be here, as Morris said, June 13th through the 16th. Actually, it'll be here on the 15th, I'm sorry, the 12th for the setup, and it'll be here on the 17th for the breakdown. So.
Right, and the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
And tell the people, if they want to volunteer, how they can contact you, Nick, please.
They can contact me by calling my office, 781-286-8119, and we can put you on the list.
Thank you, Nick. And now I'd like to, excuse me, introduce Mr. Hickey, who's going to tell you about the wall when it first gets there and the procedure from the beginning to the end. All yours, Mr. Hickey.
Well, when we first asked to have the wall come to Everett, I believe it was in July of 2005, we did what Nick is doing now, the planning and the staging of the event. I was kind of surprised when I met the moving wall that came into Everett. I met him at the Boston Edison plant on Route 99 in Everett. And when he first pulled in there, because we needed a staging area, an initial staging area, I was kind of surprised because it comes in a pickup truck with a trailer, and I envisioned this big 40-foot tractor trailer, but it wasn't. It was just a trailer with a pickup truck, and it was amazing when they finally disassembled it, when they brought it out of the trailer and started to assemble it at the stadium, how big it was. It actually is, and how they really have their stuff together when they come and they set up. But we had the city of Everett build the staging for the platform for the wall to sit on. There's quite a construction process to it. And we had a lot of the donations done by local nurseries. They came in putting flowers in, and Home Depot participated.
Can I ask you, Joe, about the cost of the wall to the first
$5,000. It was the same thing as it is then.
Oh, same thing.
Same thing then. And we asked the Local 7, the ironworkers, to come and, along with the volunteers, to come and help us set it up, and they were all there. And it was quite an event. and quite an honor, you know, for a lot of the guys to come and help put that up. And again, we had it over the 4th of July weekend, so we had an opening ceremony, a 4th of July ceremony, and a closing ceremony. And it's quite an emotional event for a lot of different reasons, for a lot of different veterans. You're required to have it open and available 24 hours a day. So you need to have people that are there, basically guardians, not guards, but guardians of the wall.
What about the police? Did they stand there?
No, well, the police came and, you know, they were there in presence during the day, but at nighttime it was just a Vietnam veteran who basically manned the wall at night, overnight, because a lot of veterans will come late at night when nobody's around for their own reasons, and they'll just sit there and reminisce and basically do their own thing in private. So you'll see guys that will come 3, 4, 2 o'clock in the morning and just do their thing. And it's, again, it's quite emotional. And you'll also have people that will drop things off, medals, boots, any type of memorabilia that family or friends have kept of their loved ones that are on the wall, and they'll leave them there. And the gentleman that takes care of the moving wall will take it back, and there's a museum that he houses a lot of these artifacts or mementos.
Oh, that people drop off?
That people drop off, yeah. So he has a museum that he'll bring all that stuff back to. And it's interesting, you know, some of the names that are on that wall, you know, I mean, it's a very emotional thing for a lot of people. Not just Vietnam veterans and their families, but for people in general to see the names of over 58,000 men and women who gave their lives for something they believed in, and at a time when the country didn't believe in, you know. So
I know.
It was kind of a deeply embedded part of our generation who lived through that time, and we're happy that Nick and communities like Revere and Everett and Malden and Arlington and just the surrounding communities that have done this in the past that are able to bring this wall to the people, because a lot of people, like my brother-in-law, wouldn't go to Washington, D.C. because it's too emotional for him, but yet he came to the one here.
In Everett?
In Everett. And so a lot of people, whereas sometimes it's put right in their face and they're forced to go see it, which is a good thing.
Joe, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I heard pro and con on this, and I wish you would help me. People mention about going to the wall and rubbing the names that are on there.
Yeah.
Some said you can't do it.
Yeah.
Some said you can.
Yeah,
Since you had the wall,
Yeah, you certainly can.
so you can't do it.
Yeah, matter of fact, we had paper and pencils available, you know, a lead, and you can just go up and just like you can in Washington, D.C.
Okay, and if a stranger like myself comes over, how does he, like, let's say I was looking for Joe Smith, how would I go finding Joe Smith?
We had two mediums available. We had a book that lists all the names alphabetically, and we also had a disc, which I'm sure that they'll give you too, Nick, in a laptop, and it tells you what panel. So it might be panel 5C, line 24B, or whatever, and it'll guide you right toward it. Now, we had volunteers that would actually bring people up and bring them right to the panel and say, okay, this is where your loved one is.
Oh, I see.
And so it would help them. So we had volunteers doing that. We had a tent set up, and of course, again, it was in the middle of the summer. It was hot, and you know, we had an ambulance company there, you know, just in case, you know, emotions or heat exhaustion or whatever it was. And so we had that available, and we had a couple of cots there just in case people got.
How many people in Everett lost their lives, by the way?
9. We had
9.
9, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to get back to Nick for 1 minute. Nick, I have, off your American Legion, got the list of 12 Vietnam veterans that gave their lives to this country. I would like you to read them, if you may, sir.
We have the 12 people. As a matter of fact, every Memorial Day we We mentioned their names along with the Korean War veterans and World War II and World War I veterans. We read off all the names, and we got to make sure we never forget all those who made the ultimate sacrifice. But I'd like to read the names: Robert Blaze, James Delmont, Sebastian DeLuca, Martin Gillespie, John Glasser, Arthur LeGros, Alan O'Brien Jr., Walter Olinsky Jr., Stephen J. Penta, Thomas Whitten, Robert Levine, Kenneth Brown. So those are the 12 people from Revere who served in Vietnam who never made the return. And we honor them, and we will not forget them.
Right, and there's one name that I would like to repeat. And the reason I say I was a little younger than him, and he was not much older than me when I went into the service. His name was John M. Glazer, 1948 to 1966, only 18 years old. So, may their souls rest in peace, Nick.
I agree.
And thank you. Now, Joe, I'd like to get back to you. What the Revere Everett, the Everett's, veterans in Everett, plan to do in the future for the community?
Well, we just dedicated our World War II roll call board in front of Everett Veterans Memorial Stadium, and we're looking to place right now at the what we call our Veterans Plaza now, which is right outside the main entrance to the stadium. We're going to put a bronze plaque on either side of the entranceway, and one for the Korean War and one for the Vietnam War, KIAs killed in action. So when people pass through that, they'll not only see the people that were killed in World War II, but they'll also see the people that gave their lives in defense of their country for Korea, as we call the Forgotten War,
right,
and Vietnam, popular war, but such a testament to the men and women of this country that have gone off in defense of their country. And whether these wars are, whatever the people feel about war, it's what we here today are so thankful for. And we honor these men, we honor these women every day. And that's our job, Nick and I, is to make sure that this country, and yourself, this country and our communities don't forget these men and
Joe,
women.
excuse me, you mentioned World War II.
Right.
We have a woman here, I'm going to let Nick do the talking, who's going around and trying to get a memorial made strictly for the women of World War II. There's a lot of monuments for men, but none for the woman with their name. So, Nick, can you speak about the lady who I'm talking about, please?
Well, Eileen Murillo, it came to me, and she had this vision of having a memorial for the women. She feels that they were forgotten World War II soldiers, and they were forgotten. So she wished to have a memorial installed at the American Legion building. So I told her I had a lot on my plate and that I'd help her out as much as I possibly could. And so we've been more or less working on that right now. We have approximately 150 women in the community who served as in the military during World War II. So she's having fundraiser, and so we're doing the fundraising along with her and trying to assist her in any way we can. So she's done a tremendous job so far.
She has, and not only that, she's been going around collecting money herself. And it's the people's money that are building this monument. We're not taking so far any money from the Veterans Organization or from the city or from the state or from the federal government. It's Eileen. She started out with 5 names. And she went around knocking on doors, coming up here and speaking to the people. And she wound up with, like he said, about 100, almost 150 names, Nick. You're absolutely right. Now, Nick, I would like you to speak about what we're going to be doing in the future for veterans, and then I'm going to give you the same thing.
Well, we have,
Before you do, I got one question I got to ask you. I got to ask you this question. I read in the Army Times, which is a magazine that comes out, Navy Times, Marine Times, Air Corps Times. They want to cut out the tuition for school. That was in the Army Times. No more schooling, like they gave me the GI Bill of Rights. They want to eliminate that, from what I understand.
No, that's well, I mean, that's not what I understand.
That's what the Army Times said.
Right, it's not for the GI Bill. The GI Bill isn't being touched. The tuition that you're talking about, the break-in tuition, is for active members of the military that are able to go out and go to school while they're in the military. That's what they're cutting.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm glad you clarified that.
yeah, no, it's not the GI Bill. The GI Bill's not being touched.
Okay. No, I'm glad you
Yeah.
clarified.
Yeah.
So what else are they cutting, if I may ask you, with that new
Well, they cut
sequester?
White House tours.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, and you know, they, I don't know.
By the way, talking about White House tours, if I can mention that, and I want to say thank you, because it was through him a year ago down at East Boston. They had, I believe, the retirement of the flags.
Flag retirement,
Yep.
yes. At
There was-
Massport.
Right, there was a gentleman there by the name of Dan Potter, and he was talking like you and two were talking, and I happened to hear him mention honor flights, which we never heard of. So I went over to Dan, and he came to our center, Senior Center, for the Veterans, Korea, Vietnam, World War II, and he gave us applications. We filled them out, and we never heard from them for 9 months. Well, we said, I forgot about us, and sure enough, about a month and a half ago, they called up and they picked 4 of us.
That's great.
They picked Eileen. They picked Charlie Macon. We have a gentleman there named Sal Santoro, 99 years old, going to be 100. He's coming with us, God bless him, and yours truly. How about your veterans? Have you got any of the honor flights out there?
We, I've got it up on our bulletin board.
Do you need any applications, by the way?
I wish we could have some men and women come forward, and, you know, and take advantage, but I haven't had any come forward as of yet. So hopefully
From
we will.
Everett now?
But unfortunately, it's getting to a point where there's, you know, our World War II veterans are passing big time now, and you know, it's we hope that they come forward real quick.
One other thing I'd like to speak about, Joe, if I may, this is our senior center. We have a lot of women there that do knitting, sewing, and some of them can't. They do volunteer work. We need John, but Miss Lois Diamond, who's the charge of all that, has these hats knitting for the veterans. I hope they can see them. To camouflage, and that goes under the helmet. Now, Nick, I'm going to give you one hat, and you can speak on that, because you were up there when that happened.
Well, I asked Lois if she would have her group of knitters and women club knit some hats for the soldiers, and so they could put them under their helmets, because in the mornings over in Afghanistan it's pretty cold, and even in Korea, for all the soldiers in Korea with all the trouble today, they go under the helmets, and it keeps their heads warm. So I asked them if they would assist us in knitting some of the hats, and I tell you, that these women are so good. Look at the beautiful hats they made. I mean, they've made dozens and dozens of hats, and no matter what we ask Lois to do for us, for the troops, they're always there, whether it be blankets for the wheelchairs at the VA hospitals or the soldiers' home. I recently took a bunch of blankets to the soldiers' home, and they were so appreciative to receive the blankets that were made so well, and some of them were even using them as shawls because of the shoulders get cold during the drafty times, and it's an old building up there. So, but Lois's group is amazing, and they've supported the troops so much, and we really, really appreciate their effort.
Right, thank you, Nick. And by the way, Lois is looking for volunteers, people that can sew, people that can bring in yarn like you showed them on that color in there. And if they can't, they have patents that they could make the hats, and I believe the patents were given by your sister.
Yeah,
Could you elaborate on that just for a few?
well, my sister asked me if we could donate some of the hats to the troops, and I says I'll ask Lois and see what. And so she gave me the pattern in order to make these here. And as I said earlier, the women went out full force. I donated some yarn to them, and they really did a great job, as I said earlier. And we do appreciate all the women at the senior center. They really support the troops. They're behind us.
Right,
100%.
thank you, Nick. Right. Before we wrap it up, I would like to say a few words, and then I'll give you each a chance to finish off. We have some beautiful women at the senior center. We have Marissa Coriali, the new one, who helps us with the veterans, who prints things in the paper right here on the Revere seniors, beside the World Memorial for the Women. She also printed something up about the veterans going to Washington right here. So, right here what she did. Lois Diamond, as Nick mentioned. Joe Picardi takes care of the trips, and we got to thank, who never gets thanks, is Al Morelli, who sits in the background. He is the administrator in charge of the Revere Senior Center. So before we close the show, take a minute and say whatever you wish, and then, Mr. Hickey, you do the same.
Well, I would love to say thank you to our mayor, Dan Rizzo, for the support that he gives us and any of the actions of the veterans activities that go on in the community. Also, Chief Caffarelli, he's always there, and I tell you what an asset he is to this community. And also the VFW. The VFW in Beachmont has done so much for the community, and the Ladies Auxiliary, the president is June Deneen, and she is a workhorse, but she's always there, and Greg Marciello and the rest of the members of the 6712 VFW and Beachmont. We can't say enough to thanking all the members who are participating in raising funds for the wall. They're doing a tremendous job for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick, for being a veteran of the Vietnam and the U.S. Air Force from World War II to Vietnam. Thank you for serving our country. Mr. Hickey, who happens to be also a Vietnam veteran from 1969 to 1971, who served two tours. Please take a minute or so to wrap it up.
Well, again, on behalf, I can speak for Nick as well. We're very privileged and honored to be part of the veterans community by representing the veterans in both Revere and Everett, and as in general all veterans. We're honored to have this job that allows us to go out and do the right thing for a lot of the men and women who in the past maybe haven't had the right thing. But today, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is probably one of the best veteran-friendly states in the United States of America.
I agree with you. That I agree with you.
We have this Chapter 115 program that aids and assists financially challenged veterans and their spouses and their widows, and we're here to administer those programs. And again, it's the only state in the country that does this.
Right.
And we have a legislature that may or may not have its troubles and problems, but I'll tell you one thing, they are behind the veterans in this state big time, as well as our communities. You know, our local councils and mayors, and in the city of Everett, the mayor and the city government are 100%, and I mean 100% behind the veterans and our officers, and we're really proud and privileged to serve our communities in our capacities.
Right, and it's an honor to have both of you represent your community, you two, and God bless you too, Joe. God bless you, Nick. God bless our troops, the people of Revere, and God bless the United States of America. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you.